Yeah. Well deserved.
I'd say he's like, you might be the tallest person I've had in here, and I was like, oh, sorry. He's like, what are you, like 6'1"? And I'm like, no. He goes, I wonder. I moved it to where I thought it was like 6'1". I'm like,
yeah, well, that's why mine took so long because they had to bring the lights. I'm like, I can stand on my tippy toes, but I don't understand.
yeah, that was great. Yeah.
This morning feels like it was yesterday. That's the kind of day I had.
I always slouch. I was 6'1" in 7th grade.
Like it wasn't
So I was
just
always
10 hours ago that I saw you.
Yeah. If I stand up straight, yeah. You just never see. I'm usually sitting down. I'm talking to you, but then that's what Chuck saw me one night, and he at the time he met me, I was sitting down the entire time. And then I was looking for Kelly, so my head was like this, and it's like,
hi, how are you?
it's like, oh, really, really tough.
Yes. Mayor, we need a teleprompter counting us down on our time. Oh, no, I think he's counting down on time. He's got the teleprompter.
Hello.
Santos League of Cities Legislative Awards, May 22nd.
I'll give you the answer by the end of the meeting. Is that all right? Okay. May 22nd. Okay.
Also, the Chamber of Boards, we're gonna get to
When is that?
Way to make me feel bad right before we start.
Tentatively say yes for, yeah. May 22nd. Yes.
I won't be in the parade.
She'll deserve it.
See you guys Sunday.
May 22nd. Okay, so that's a Saturday for the other one. I need to check with my mother because I feel like we might have family something that weekend that may not be on my calendar yet. So yes.
The one night.
That goes on Mondays and Tuesdays, apparently.
Yep. Okay.
I said, well, that's probably a good thing, because
We'll all show up.
we'd all be down there again.
What was that again?
May 12th at 11 o'clock at the sheriff's office.
Good.
I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
Good vibe to it, you know.
You there?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can please take us over.
Oh, this is the one I filled out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I filled. What did you want me to do? Make sure it's all right. Oh, yeah, I gave her a new one, but I think it would all be the same from before. So.
Usually collects them.
I hope so.
Some of us filled ours out years ago.
Yes.
1 minute. They fixed it.
Within a minute, at least.
Mike's alive.
No, I got 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to call the Tuesday, April 20th, 2021 Oldsmar City Council meeting to order. The next 2 items on the agenda are the invocation and pledge of allegiance, which will be led by our city attorney, Mr. Tom Trask. Please rise.
Our Heavenly Father, help us to carry out the tasks necessary for us to fulfill our purpose. Help us to stay on track so that we may lead this meeting for the work, for the good of the community. Help us to be good stewards of positive change to benefit the city of Oldsmar and its residents. In this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please be seated? Before we get started, I should mention that we are following the CDC guidelines. And so if you're in the audience, for those at home who may not know this, everyone has their mask on. We don't up here because we're spread out. But that could change because we almost all have been vaccinated up here. So we'll see what the future brings. Anyhow, we ask that when you come up to the podium, you're more than welcome to take your mask off if it makes it easier to speak. But while you're in your seats, we ask that you keep them on. The next item on the agenda is the Citizens Open Forum. We only have a few rules. One, that you have 5 minutes to speak. That's 5 minutes to speak. Echo. That you cannot speak to any item on the agenda that's a public hearing. However, we have no public hearings tonight, so you can speak to any item on the agenda. And we ask that you give your name, address, and include your city for the record. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side of the room.
This side?
Yes.
Okay, with the side first. Clock. Suda Yanis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East, Oldsmar, Florida. I want to first start off by giving a big thank you and round of applause to council, staff, and community for their support and their attendance at our Beauty and the Beast production by Opal Theater this past Saturday. We believe we had over 600 people in attendance, and it was a huge success. We are so proud of all of our talented students. I saw students sing and dance like I've never seen them before. They just came out of their shells. They did a fantastic job. The sets, the costumes, the lights, the sound, and even a beautiful evening. It was an absolutely magical night, and that's what we're calling it. And a special thank you, of course, to all of our supporters, sponsors, fundraiser donors, and all of those who helped make this happen. Our actors are actually already looking forward to our next production, Shrek the Musical, to be held in October at the park, with auditions on May 29th at the Rec Center. You can, of course, find out more information on our Opal Theater Facebook page, and we're looking forward to that. And our kids' theater creates such a beautiful family. The kids are already pulling together and deciding what roles they want to go for and everything. Oldsmar Friends of the Arts, as we introduced ourselves recently, we are proud to become the official producers in this next performance, working in conjunction with the City of Oldsmar's sponsorship and subcontracted theater program. We are honored to build this new relationship with the city, and I'm honored to be on the group that's helping make this new path. On another note, as many are aware, we have a wonderful event coming up this weekend with Oldsmar Days, and Friends of the Arts will be attending at our first official weekend event. We want to invite you to stop by our Friends tent for more information on our programs or to find out how to get involved with our 501c3 charitable organization and our fundraising efforts to support these programs. You can also visit, of course, Friends of the Arts on Facebook for more information. Also, our theater students and dancers are looking forward to marching in this year's parade. We missed it last year, but we are moving forward this year. I believe it will be our 20th parade for Miss Suda's dancers. And that will be Saturday at 11 a.m., so we hope y'all line the streets for that great parade, done, of course, in social distancing. We are actually doing 2 floats in one. The back half is Opal Theater is going to get to have one last hurrah as Beauty and the Beast. And the front half will be Miss Suda's dancers showing off their outfits and their costumes for their upcoming Cats production in their recital. On that note, we want to remind council, staff, and the community that Miss Suda's dancers' upcoming recital is with a flashback to the 80s theme and a special mini production of the musical Cats coming up at the Elizabeth Smith Amphitheater stage at Ari Olds Park on May 22nd at 5 p.m. This is a free show at the park, and we invite you all to come out. And of course, you can find out more on Miss Suda's Dancers Facebook page. With all of this excitement and growth, we are so looking forward to hearing more in the coming months about the possibility of a permanent theater. And I think John Buse had it right in his statement during one of our presentations recently of the Odeon Theater. I think we need to build a bigger boat. So it's kind of exciting, the things that are on the horizon. Of course, as many of you know, I am available and would appreciate any opportunity to offer any input for the needs of this project when the time comes for our visual arts and community, as of course the director, set designer, sound designer, choreography, and much more of two of our very successful visual art programs. Finally, I would like to thank council and staff for their attention to our Leisure Services Advisory Board and doing their best to accommodate some of the requests that were made to make our board more useful, and we look forward to seeing its growth in the future as our visual arts programs grow along with it. My new favorite saying, Oldsmar, it starts with parks and grows with arts. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very good. How much time was that? I just have to ask.
Yes, he's got to know.
All right. All right. I was giving her a hard time earlier. I was giving her a hard time. That's all right. You've had a lot to report on lately. Is there anybody else on this side of the room? Ken?
Yes, sir. Ken Sidorowicz, 5 Pelican Drive, Oldsmar, Florida. Regarding the agenda item about a resolution adding 2 alternative members and 1 additional meeting to our Leisure Services Board. As the rather uninfluential chairperson of that board, I was the only negative vote to bring this to City Council at our February meeting. However, we have a few newer members. We have 2 vacant seats to fill, and we would appreciate the addition of 2 alternates, which make it very easy to fill positions when people leave or miss meetings, whatever the reason. It seems that the compromise to add 1 additional meeting, which is, I believe, the suggestion, seems reasonable to me. And I also appreciate the fact that my understanding is that it would be up to the board to schedule that meeting, you know, taking into consideration city staffing, et cetera, but we would appreciate that alternative. I think the 1 additional meeting is good. We used to be scheduled 12 times a year, as Dan can remember from being on the board. Katie, also an alumni of the Leisure Services Board. We actually used to meet 10 times a year, which was probably too much. 4 is probably too few, so I'm in favor of the compromise of 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I spoke to Ken this week, and I'll just say, when he told me about he was the only one as chair who voted against it and everyone voted the other way, I said, hey, don't feel bad. It happens as mayor all the time. All right, do we have anybody else on this side of the room? Seeing none, I'm going to go to this side of the room. Is there anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Ma'am?
Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. I also serve on the Leisure Service Advisory Board, and I want to discuss item number 9. And I want to thank you for having 7 Leisure Service Advisory Boards with 2 alternate members. In addition, I want to thank all of you for the compromise of adding 1 additional meeting for the year. I think this will help allow our board to communicate more regarding such a broad scope of our purpose. And I'd like to thank council and city staff for the leisure service events that they have hosted these past few months and the upcoming month we have. My family and local families have really enjoyed movies in the park, sidewalk chalk art, the Gnome Quest, and the production of Beauty and the Beast Jr. And we're very excited about Oldsmar Days. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice. Anybody else on this side of the room? All right. I'm going to go ahead and close the citizens' open forum. The next item on the agenda is the community minute, which will be announced by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
So greetings from Oldsmar. There is a new pop-up art project premiering this weekend during Oldsmar Days and Nights at Ari Olds Park, located at the intersection of Chestnut Street and Shore Drive West. Set against the backdrop along State Street in front of the 1918 Oldsmar Bank building, that's this building. This engaging photo prop allows residents and visitors to travel back in time while sitting inside the 1901 Oldsmobile Curve Dash roundabout. Participants of all ages can poke their heads through the holes of the stand-up board and have a picture taken with friends and family to create the ultimate interactive alter ego and share on social media with hashtag Oldsmar Greetings. Learn more about it at oldsmarpopupart.com. So we have a photo op. Come on by. Sunset Sounds Concert Series, Friday, April 30th at 7 o'clock, Ari Olds Park, featuring Trop Rock Junkies. Bring your own blanket, chairs, friends, golf cart parking available, social distancing observed, weather permitting. Knock on wood. Woo-hoo. Job fair coming in May, Saturday, May 15th from 1 to 4 at Oldsmar Sports Complex. Looking for a new employment opportunity? Over 50 employers will be participating in this job fair, representing construction, restaurants, medical, hotels, manufacturing, government, retail, and more. Dress for success and be ready to impress. Free for attendees. Learn more at utbchamber.com. utbchamber.com. And yes, government. So don't forget, too, that we have jobs on our website. But hey, this is a great thing to go to. And that's all I have.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I understand right now they're sitting with almost over 200 jobs that are going to be available at that fair. And so this, I give the chamber a lot of credit. This kind of was born out of the We Mean Business meetings that we do with them and going out and seeing the business community. And so we have a lot of good jobs available here in the city of Oldsmar. All right, the next item on the agenda is the approval of additional new item agendas. We have no new items, so I'm going to sense that we don't need a vote on that. Moving on, awards and recognition. Item number 1, presentation of Council Manager Award for April 2021, which will be presented by Councilmember Saraki.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We'll give him a round of applause. Give a little.
Thank you, Ann. So this the Council Manager Award is given to someone in the community who has stepped up to the plate and has done great things for our city, and that person is Vince Albanese. Come on up here, Vince. All right, Vince, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to let you speak. Is that all right? Vince is a dedicated advocate for the Oldsmar communities. I met Vince a couple years ago when he invited me to attend a meeting of fellow homeowners association presidents. Excuse me. He was the first president of the Tuscany Woods HOA in 2017 after a transition from the Taylor Morrison home builder. He served in that role for the first 3 years as HOA president until February 2021. Vince is a lifelong native of Pinellas County, educated in our public schools and university. He has spent his 40-plus year work career in information technology, leading global pharmaceutical, finance, and healthcare companies. Vince presently works with startups all over the world as Chief Technology Officer, helping tech firms work towards more scalable growth and achieving higher levels of privacy and security compliance. Vince has a lifelong commitment to environmental causes, having worked with families and thousands of volunteers to organize a non-for-profit organization working towards cleaning up Tampa Bay waterways. That organization went on to become People's Magazine and CNN Heroes of the Year. In a meeting with Chris Castro, director of the Subsustainability for the city of Orlando, Vince asked Chris how the city has been so successful in addressing such a wide variety of projects. His answer was, through connection to neighborhoods. That inspired Vince to approach our assistant city manager, Felicia Donnelly, to ask how he could replicate that model in the city of Oldsmar. The result is the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association, organized and funded by Vince to this date. The Oldsmar Neighborhood Association is now operating with a board of directors, key activists engaged, and many people signing up. The vision of the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association is simple. The goal is to create a public-private partnership with the city and lessen the burden of government. Vince believes that every citizen has some skill, talent, or time to make our community better. The Oldsmar Neighborhood Association is here to provide a forum for that to happen and to create a connection to neighborhoods. I applaud Vince for his commitment to the Oldsmar community and proud to present him with the Council Manager Award for April 2021. Congratulations, Vince.
She probably doesn't want to. I would like to say, though, that first of all, I'm very appreciative of the accolade. This is really, truly a citizens' event, and I would like to applaud certain members. Certainly, this is one of those projects that it's felt like the universe has been leading this along, and this is tonight is another example of that. Why my wife and I, we raise our family here because we love it here, and we love it here because of the values of the city. Parks and recreation, what you described tonight, what's happening here, this is a family-oriented community, and we love it. So those values are very important to us. It's what keeps us here, but we also believe that this is a small town with big opportunities. So very friendly government, look around. We can get things done here. So I'm surrounded by a group of tremendous volunteers that are helping. It takes activists in the beginning to get things moving. And I'd like to mention what you can expect to see out of the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association this year. As Dan mentioned, the goal here is to make sure that we work to liaise between what our citizens want and what city government can perform and do. So cutting through the fat, getting to something efficiently. In order to do that, to get everybody participating, I'd like to mention some individuals by name. One of them happens to be here tonight, Mark Pinson in the back. Mark is another technologist. He and I share something in common in that we are on the phone day and night with software engineers all over the world and none here in the US. And so we both have a personal passion at getting that kind of technology. We have space downtown and we're surrounded by technology companies. You can expect, Mark is helping me bring up what will soon be a collaborative website that replaces oldsmarneighbors.com, which is the site up today. That collaborative site is going to be the hub around which we can rally individuals and people to self-organize to be able to get things done. In addition to that, Mark and I are working on different STEM programs. We have ideas that don't sound like just another incubator at getting technology going here in the area and novel ways to do that. I'm also vice president of the new Experimental Aircraft Association, the EAA chapter 1660 out of Tampa. I'm mentioning that for a reason here. I'm a pilot, and we've resurrected the St. Pete Clearwater Airboat moniker, which is the first scheduled airline in the world, I believe. And we're building a replica of the Benoit aircraft. That's going to be built by young people here in the Tampa Bay area coming together, right? So that group is operating out of MacDill, a lot of ex-military pilots, but this is something I'm going to pull Oldsmar into and the kind of STEM program that has me very excited. Those are the kinds of things that Mark and I will be working on in his area. Another gentleman from the area, Brian Trieste, is handling citizen mobilization through the website, tackling projects and things that are important to them, and bringing an organized message and a single message to work with the city. Ken Park, a marketing individual. Ken is our liaison to greater connectivity throughout Tampa Bay. Ken runs fundraising for the American Cancer Society in Tampa Bay. So Ken is a link to lots of big business. And we want to get the word out that Oldsmar is at the center of the universe here and that these things circle around us. And finally, another volunteer, Jenna Boyle is the director of the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association. So Jenna is responsible for making sure that we all stay on task. So great volunteers. I believe the number's about 200 people have signed up to help so far. We're going to get them organized around the website. And like I said, love it in Oldsmar. And a small town with great possibilities is the theme. So thank you very much.
Congratulations.
You got to get the photo op there.
Yeah, mask on. Or I can't use them. and that's no fun. Oh, hi. You can come around.
Yeah, it's good. It's perfect.
Very nice. Congratulations. It sounds like you're doing some terrific work, getting everybody organized. It can be a task all in itself, more or less just getting them to do something, so we applaud you. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 2, presentation of Employee Service Award, which will be presented by our city manager, Mr. Al Braithwaite.
Mayor, we have a little photo as we've now come to our tradition. The employees who receive service awards have the option of receiving them in front of City Hall or this morning in the City Hall lobby with masks, hopefully. And we gave one award today. It's a 20-year award to Matt Danielson. And if you've seen Matt Danielson anytime recently, that's a baby face. He looks quite a bit different.
Start of his beard.
He's a lead groundskeeper in parks. You probably do recognize that if you're driving on 580 or Tampa Road, you almost always see a guy in a jungle hat all by himself, maintaining the perennial peanuts and everything else there. Was that impressive?
That was.
I
Yeah.
looked in his file and I thought, okay, whatever that is. It's a flower, apparently. So we had the ceremony this morning, well attended. The two things I want to tell you about Matt is one, in his 20 years, he's been promoted 5 times. And 2, he, for the past 5 years in a row, got the Perfect Attendance Award.
Wow.
This guy shows up every day. And that just makes it kind of more exciting when you say that in front of the rest of the people to go, you know, this guy just doesn't miss a day at work. And I love that because we have a lot of them. But we had a nice ceremony this morning, and he received his 20-year service award, which includes a nice check and a plaque.
Very nice.
Very good. All right, well, congratulations. Is that all you got, sir?
That's it.
All right,
Sure.
we're going to move on. Community Redevelopment Agency, we have nothing under that tonight. Next item is the consent docket, which will be announced by our city clerk, Ann Nixon.
Item number 3, approve minutes of the March 25, 2021 work session on the Ordinance Review Committee recommendations. Item number 4, approve minutes of the April 6, 2021 council meeting. Item number 5, approve payment to legal counsel for March 2021 legal services.
Very good. Does anybody wish to pull anything? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved?
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second and discussion. Sent you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next item on the agenda, City of Oldsmar. Item number 6, approve moving Matt Clark from alternate member to full member of the Board of Adjustments. We typically require folks to come unless they've been here before, and of course with COVID. We haven't really pushed it the way we normally would, and plus I think we all pretty well know Mr. Clark. So this time the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you for stepping up.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Good. Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, approve appointing Sean Swager as alternate member of the Board of Adjustments. Now, he would be here, but they are on baby watch right now.
Really close.
Really close.
Really, really close.
And I don't believe anybody up here wants that on us. So we said, stay home. Stay home. Thank you for stepping up, but don't do it tonight. So anyhow, so the chair will entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Thanks
Good
for
luck
stepping
on
up.
number 2.
Good luck.
Look,
All right, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying baby.
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 Opposed, motion passes.
So great.
Next item, city attorney.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Nothing tonight. Let me ask you a question while we've got you. When do you anticipate that we'll start to see some of the ordinance review items that came out of the committee that we were voted on? I know we have some stuff later on to approve, but I'm just curious, when do you think we'll start seeing that come through the pipeline?
As soon as you want them. I mean, it can be done that quickly. So if you want to start scheduling the first 3 or 4 for the next meeting, we can do that.
It works?
Is that, if that's okay?
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll talk about it in a minute, but okay, I was just wondering about that. Because I saw it being a light night tonight, and I thought, maybe we'll end up with some of that, but I guess we have to approve the minutes first, probably a good idea. All right. All right. City manager, item 8.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 8 is request council approval to waive bid requirements and award the purchase of additional IT equipment and computers to VTech-IO based on the same pricing terms and conditions as the State of Florida DMS contract number 43211500-WSCA-15-ACS on piggyback form 16-002. On October 20th, 2020, City Council approved the purchase of computers and other IT equipment for an amount not to exceed $40,000, which is part of our annual budget appropriation for that kind of purchase. Recent events have identified a need to accelerate some planned IT projects, which include upgrades to various IT network infrastructure components, such as switches, servers, additional PCs and laptops, and security enhancements. On March 2nd, 2021, City Council also approved additional appropriations for IT equipment through a budget revision and services via Resolution 21-07, which provide the funding necessary to expedite the network backbone improvements. $40,000 has been spent to date on PC and laptop upgrades as previously approved by council. Additional purchases of IT equipment and improvements for the remainder of the fiscal year, as outlined above, if approved, are not expected to exceed $100,000. Funding is available in the Administrative Services IT equipment budget, which is in the general fund, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you. All right, the chair will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Need it.
We need it.
We need it. We don't need any slow computers out there. Lead to problems. All right. Sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Anything else, sir?
That's it. Thank you, sir.
All right. Item number 9, City Clerk.
Item number 9, authorize city attorney to draft a resolution adding 2 alternate members and 1 additional meeting to Leisure Services Advisory Board. And so, Mayor, you had requested that this item come up for discussion. And I know it's written as though it's a done deal, but I just wanted to emphasize that if it is the council's pleasure to add members, that it best be done to authorize today so that the resolution can be adopted at the next meeting in time for the May 10th meeting of Leisure Services Advisory Board. Nothing else has changed as far as recommendations or the requests from the Leisure Services Advisory Board.
All right, thank you. Yeah, if you'll recall, I did actually request that it be discussion so that we could have some discussion on it. If you'll recall, when this item came before us, it died for a lack of a second. In part, I think that might have been, and I'm not reading anyone's mind, but possibly because of what the majority of the committee had asked for. Also, understanding that the city clerk's office had some recommendations as well, and so this actually kind of went from discussion to what was the outcome. And I had spent some time in the clerk's office discussing some of the concerns and opportunities, and spoke with some of the members of the committee. And it was the city clerk's recommendation, as it related to the 5th meeting, perhaps structuring that in such a way that the committee could decide when that 5th meeting takes place. We all know that there's a certain time of the year that we're slower, where we have less demand. That meeting in July always sticks in my mind, and some of the other stuff, why we end up not having them. But this gives kind of a compromise and a starting point, and it would be an opportunity, I think, as you heard the chairman talk about, and members of the committee who spoke, for them to actually manage that process a little on their own. I spent time, I don't know if any of you did, I love that we record all of our meetings now, because you can go back and watch them. Mm-hmm. And so I spent quite a bit of time watching some of the recent meetings. I think I think that that board is performing quite well. You know, there were some times in years past that it was a challenge, and I don't believe that that really is a challenge anymore. But so I support this, but I do want to say, because it was kind of, you know, it went right to the gist of it. The intent was to have discussion and that be interjected. So in any event, I just don't want anyone to think that the chair is being presumptuous when doing that. So discussion, motion, then discussion.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question.
Go for it.
The previous recommendation was to keep the current membership at 5 full-fledged members, and by adding, modifying it to go to just 2 alternates. And the way I read this now is that, or maybe it's just not super clear, but that it would be keeping it at 7 full-fledged members and then adding 2 alternates.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially what it's saying is not making a change to the membership, but it would add the alternates, which, as most of you know, that's a system that we use with our other boards. And the significance of that is, and one of the concerns, I think, in having 7 members on a board, and part of the recommendation to go to 5 was it's easier to maintain a quorum as a rule, right? However, our alternate system, the way that we use it, and I'll use the Board of Adjustments as an example, and that is when we have a full member out, we allow the alternate to step up and fill in that position, which helps us with maintaining a quorum. And so it's a system that has been successful for us with our other boards, and so that's the reason why I think it's being proposed. Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. So you all know I'm a lawyer, right? I know we've brought this up before. I have read and reread the founding documents, the original resolutions, the resolutions to collapse the board at a certain time from cultural affairs, the number of agenda items. I've had discussions with our city manager, our assistant city manager, and our city clerk at length. I've discussed many times with Suda, with Ken, and other members of the Leisure Services Advisory Board. And as was pointed out, I was a member of this board for a period of time. And I want to make clear one very, very important thing. My opinion on this issue has nothing to do with the members of this board who are sitting here in this audience. These are incredibly dedicated citizens who volunteer their time selflessly on many projects, not just leisure services projects. They volunteer in other ways. I mean, Suda just stood up and talked about what has come from a fledgling effort to begin again our youth theater program, and the efforts that she and Hector have put in, and Teresa, and I mean, the list goes on and on. Barbara Draba. I mean, you can't list all the contributions of the community who have purchased things to raise money for them. That is the kind of effort that comes out of the volunteerism that we have in this community. That is the focused effort that can result in a single purpose of reviving that youth theater, and who knows what it can become, you know, from there. When I look at the original intent of the Leisure Services Advisory Board, I have, and considering the agenda items, the past recommendations of our city clerk, I have a really hard time reconciling the way this recommended motion is written with that intent. The board is to meet based on agenda items from council. I understand and agree with the board members that there have not been many agenda items from council, period. That's totally true. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other avenues for these incredible volunteers to do more in our community. Suda is 1000% an example of finding another avenue not enumerated in this board of creating something unbelievably successful. I think there's room for more of that. I don't believe that adding an additional meeting at this time is something that I can be in favor of based on the reason why the board was created. I do appreciate that they would like to get together more, but it's not for the purpose for which the board was intended. And because of my background and what I do for a living, I am all about that sort of letter of the document and the reason why certain things were created. I'm sure Steve can appreciate that as a fellow attorney. I don't feel that it's prudent to reverse prior council course less than a year and a half ago to reduce the number of meetings to bring it in line with other boards and based on the agenda items from council. Now, I think we could make an effort to provide more agenda items and seek the board's input for those items. I agree with that. I'm not entirely opposed to adding the additional members so that they have a quorum when there are agenda items and alternates to fill those spots, because there are times when people miss a meeting or they move away and then you're stuck. You've got 2 empty spots and an alternate would be helpful. That's not as difficult for me as adding back the additional meetings. There is substantial staff time involved in this. I've had extensive discussions with the city clerk about this. And I don't want the board to become the sort of what the clerk described in her prior memos to the council, to be a sort of punch list of to-do items or complaints about various things. I love some of the ideas that I've heard from the board members about showing up at leisure services events and then providing feedback from those events. Get that feedback to council somehow. There are other ways that they could get involved, not necessarily with agenda items as well. It's just, I can't get past that without more evidence that there is a need to meet other than for the sake of meeting.
Okay, let me do this. For the purpose of, we really probably should have got a motion on the floor first, because if there's a lack of a second and it dies, then so be it. We kind of went down the discussion way first, because that was the original intent when it was added to the agenda. So I'm going to go ahead and entertain a motion to approve item number 9 as presented. Do I have a motion? No motion. No more discussion.
Mayor, may I make an alternative motion?
Well, let me just make sure this is going to die first.
The no more discussion thing,
Well,
there might be.
I'll tell you what, since we kind of went off the discussion path, we probably shouldn't have. We should probably put it on the floor first. And sometimes it's good for a motion and a second for the purpose of discussions, and then vote it down. So, that's kind of the normal Robert's rules. So in any event, let me go, you spoke, I'll come back to you.
Make a motion if you would like, Mayor, but I understand your reasoning that you just mentioned.
Thank you. Steve?
As drafted, maybe we can work on the language a little bit. I don't necessarily, I love the advisory boards, absolutely adore them. And serving on them was one of the best ways for me to learn about all of this stuff. And so I'm not against, hey, we want to have another meeting. Do we have maybe an optional 5th meeting? But I do listen to city staff when they say, hey, that's us that has to go and we have to do this. And I'm like, okay, well, what have we done? Well, they couldn't get a quorum. Well, I think if we add the 2 alternate members, as Katie had alluded to, then we'll get a quorum. That's when we appointed Matt Clark to a full member of the Board of Adjustment. He's already participated in one of those meetings because another full member was absent and he was the first alternate. I started as an alternate on the Board of Adjustment, was the first board that I was appointed to. So I was
Me as well.
Right, so I'm completely in favor of that. It was, what's the need for the meeting? Is the purpose of the board as stated in the charter being followed during those meetings? And I don't know if the answer to that is yes or no. So I was trying to figure out more information about that. Maybe go back and watch the Leisure Services Board, try to figure out exactly what the charter says as Katie was going through all the different things that she had read, and say, okay, I'm okay with this if the charter is being followed, the purpose of the board is being carried out as stated in the city's documents. So that's where I was at on the entire thing. As a concept, I think it's okay. Adding the extra meeting what's the purpose? Are we getting the purpose of the board conducted each time that we meet, yes or no? And I don't know that I had a good answer to that, but adding the 2 alternates, of course I was fine with it, because I know for a fact that when I was signing up for boards, I was like, yeah, leisure services, that sounds like something that I'd like to be a part of. And so there might be a waiting line of folks, and if you don't have alternates and only 3 folks show up, we don't have quorum, we can't do anything. I understand that, but if there was the 2 alternates, they sit up there and off we go. So concept's fine. I had some other questions, and that's why when I read it, I said, okay, we're gonna put a motion on the floor, or we're gonna be in the same spot that we were last time. So I just wanted to get a couple of those things off.
Councilman Saraki?
Thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you to Pat and Ken, Suda. We served together on that board for many years. I know Amber's new. I didn't get a chance to serve with her. But, first of all, I want to say thank you all for coming out. It means a lot to all of us. It really does. Thank you.
Absolutely.
As Ken mentioned, 12 meetings a year. I remember doing that as the chairman. That was just way too many meetings. But at that time, too, we had a lot of different things going on in the city. We were building the bike trail. We were building the BMX. There was a lot of different things going on at that particular time when we were on that board together. So to Ken's point, even though Ken said, yes, I want to add another meeting, I don't think it's really needed. I kind of agree with Katie and Steve. I don't think that meeting is needed, but adding 2 alternative members would not be a bad thing. I really feel that board, considering what can be going on at particular times with the projects we have working in the city, it might be actually helpful to have 2 extra people on that board as alternatives. Thank you.
Very good. All right, so let me give you my 2 cents on the matter. And I've read the original purpose. It's 1 paragraph is the purpose, even though the document's much longer. And the purpose is really to serve as a conduit, not only for us to send them agenda items to get their feedback on, but it's also for them to go solicit input from the public. The committee does not run events. I mean, that to me sometimes becomes a misunderstanding that people might have about that particular board. They run no events. No. That's not their role, but it is their role, and it states it in the purpose, and that is to solicit input from the community on events. To your point, they were talking about maybe going out to some events and how to further that mission. It was also to provide input to the Leisure Services Director, and I think there's probably some training in that area that could take place. I think it's intended to be, hey, the grass is tall over here, or something along that lines that's so tactical in nature, but maybe bigger picture, reoccurring themes that they're hearing. From my perspective, and I'm certainly as sensitive to the staff's time as anybody, I will promise you, I have been doing this for a long time and not insensitive to it. But I also think when you have a committee and all but one ask for more meetings, and it's not to say have a meeting for the purpose of meeting, right? I mean but giving them that option for adding 1 additional meeting, frankly, I don't see as being really that big of an ask, right? And I'll remind everybody, because I was here when we shrunk the number of meetings. We voted on this, we debated this, we went through this process, and I don't know that anybody else was here at the time. I will tell you, there was a time when we wanted to temporarily kind of eliminate that for a while because there was such a problem that we had. Yes. And in my mind, and listening to the meetings, I don't believe that's the case at all anymore. No. And so, I do believe that there's probably some training as to how to be more effective. That is certainly possible. But once again, I don't think it's that big of an ask. So I'll once again entertain a motion. If there's not one, then I will open it to any alternate motion, okay? So we do have item number 9, which is authorize the city attorney to draft a resolution adding 2 alternate members and 1 additional meeting to the Leisure Services Advisory Board. The chair will entertain a motion to approve. All right, dies for lack of motion. Is there a motion that anyone would like to make? Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to authorize the city attorney to draft a resolution adding 2 alternate members to the Leisure Services Advisory Board.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Do I have any discussion? Any further discussion? Shannon?
I am extraordinarily excited at the new ideas and initiatives that I have heard that might be coming soon from the Leisure Services Advisory Board. If it becomes necessary that they need to meet more, and I see some evidence that they need to meet more based on that progress, I will be in favor of that.
Is there any other discussion? All right, sensing you're ready to vote, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Item number 10, City Council, item 10, schedule work session to discuss capital improvement program for fiscal 2021-2022 through fiscal year 2026 through 2027. Now, I'm gonna bring in our city manager here. I know that there was an effort to try and combine the CIP meeting with the planning meeting with the target, I think, was the 25th. Was that working out?
Yes, sir. We're hoping that we can effectively have both meetings on the 25th as part of our the CIP meeting, the capital improvement program, which is certainly related to the council planning conference topically, so we thought we could have them both in the same day since the council planning conference was scheduled for the entire business day. So we thought we could cover both on the same if it works for council. And I do believe everybody was ultimately available on May 25th.
All right, does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Good. Item 10 done, and then that would also mean item 12 done. So item 11, schedule work session for flood ordinance amendments. The dates that I had, I think were the 26th or the 28th. Did that end up being the case?
Yeah, the only one that everybody could support one way or the other was the 26th. Question was raised about whether or not we could do it at 4 as opposed to 2, but there is a Veterans Advisory Board meeting at 4. So it would appear that the best bet for us as far as most consistent positive availability was April 26th at 2.
Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
April 26th at 2, yes.
All right. By consensus.
Monday.
That is Monday.
is.
That one's
This
kind of
is
time
deadline.
sensitive.
We're motivated.
Deadline oriented.
Yeah, it's
urgent.
time sensitive.
Let's do it.
All right, very good. We already accomplished number 12. Item 13, council comments. I'm going to go to Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the exciting opportunity to attend the second Women's Club of Oldsmar meeting on last Tuesday. It was only our second meeting this entire year. We met once in October at the State Street Center, and we couldn't meet due to COVID. A lot of people felt uncomfortable naturally, but we did have our meeting, and I was asked to convey to the council and to the city manager and staff, especially Chip and Leisure Services and Alexis, their heartfelt thanks for the new roof. We desperately needed a new roof, and they also repaired on the inside where it was evident that the roof was leaking. And the Women's Club is also seeking the assistance of Alexis and his team to adjust some of the hedges and bushes out front. And, you know, these women are simply bowled over by the support from city staff. And I just wanted to make sure that city staff knew how much it means to them. It might be just a plant or just a roof on a tiny little white house, but it means a lot. And I also wanted to invite folks to attend. So the Women's Club, although quite historic in nature, is not a whole bunch of old people. It's actually a lot of really amazing, dedicated women who are interested in just doing better for their community. Whether it's underwear for little kids who are without over at Oldsmar Elementary School, or doing knitting projects for the Veterans Hospital, you know, from raising money so that we can give a scholarship to a local young woman to attend some institution for higher education. We do that every year. It's a great organization, a great group of women, a lot of camaraderie, and you know, if there's one thing I need right now, it's camaraderie. So I was really happy about that. And This weekend, as you guys know, I will be at Emo 2 over in Daytona Beach. I will not be in the parade, but I will be back on Sunday to serve beer over at Oldsmar Days. Can't wait. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there in our modified format, but I'm sure it will be a fantastic event. I regrettably, at the last minute, could not attend the Beauty and the Beast Junior performance. My babysitter called with literally moments to spare, and I texted the mayor that she let me know that she had COVID symptoms, and so we couldn't take that risk, and so I was unable to attend. My understanding is that the event was absolutely fantastic and indeed quite magical. And I just wanted to thank Suda and Hector. I ran into Hector at Lowe's on Friday. I mean, the man
Go get this.
going back and forth, buying supplies. I mean, they've got security out there.
By the way, Councilman, I did announce that from the stage.
I know.
That you were on your way.
I
Yes.
heard. Thank you so
Because I know how it is. It happens.
I'm just so proud. I can't wait to see the next one and the one after that and the one after that. I want to commend all of you. And I know I had a last word, but I need one more last word. I just want to make sure, although Ken left and Amber left, that the people on the Leisure Services Advisory Board understand the intention behind my discussion tonight. I intend to reach out to each of them individually to discuss my intentions with them. I hope that it is not taken personally. It is not meant personally at all. The contributions of that board, past and present, have been numerous and important, and I cannot wait to see them continue in this new productive fashion. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. First off, tomorrow I will be attending as a first-time member of the Noise Abatement Task Force.
Oh, good.
For St. Pete Clearwater Airport. I'm looking forward to that. It should be an enlightening experience. I know there's a handful of citizens that are very passionate about the issues related to that, and they will probably be on the call as well. They are still doing the virtual meetings for right now, but that'll probably return to on-site meetings at some point. But pretty excited about that, to get to learn a little bit more, given that that's a personal interest of mine as well, just a flight in general. And then second, just a reminder about the beer tent on Sunday. We're there from 12 to 6. I meant to bring my blue shirt to remind you, don't forget your blue shirt, but I forgot to bring it.
Good.
So if you don't have one, get with Ann. We might be short on time to get you a replacement, but as an alternative.
Years ago?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that wasn't a new
No.
blue shirt.
No.
It was like,
No, it's the
I thought
same
15
one.
years ago
It's the
was.
same one. We just haven't been able to use it.
Got it.
Correct. I didn't get it last year because there was no Oldsmar Day, so I was like, what blue shirt? And then they're like, you need this. So yes, that one.
Got it.
And then as a backup, I guess if you can't find it, Sandy Grimes was asking for shirt sizes if you're interested in one of the Oldsmar Days volunteer shirts. So if you want, send me your shirt size and I will forward that along to her. That's all I have.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
And if you want one for a souvenir, it's always kind of nice to have, you know. All right, Councilmember Graber.
Thank you, Mayor. I was able to bring my daughter to Beauty and the Beast, as you probably saw. She had a blast. She was just as scared of the Beast as she is when she's watching it. She's okay with the cartoon version. Live action, no thank you. But we were following along, and I was actually telling her in her ear, I don't know if it, just verbatim what was about to happen. She's like, when am I going to see the Beast again? I'm like, this is when they go back and they want to take them, and they're being mean to Maurice. And I'm like, okay. It was absolutely sensational event, especially when the Gaston song, with the amount of kids that were on stage, and the fact that we know the movie so well because we've got younger kids and was able to follow along with it. As funny as Gaston was, I heard the mayor laugh out loud when he was singing some of his parts. Wonderful job. Thank you very much for just allowing us to be able to enjoy that. It was sensational. I was able to attend an Oldsmar Cares dinner that was supposed to take place at Veterans Park. And they had the silverware on the table, and the rain came and just washed it out. So I thought the event was going to be canceled. And I got a phone call and they said, we're shifting gears, we're moving over to the rec center. And I said, okay, fine. Well, come to find out that Karen, and I might be pronouncing her last name, is it Beal?
Beal, yes.
Karen Beal spent 4 hours, oh, forgive me.
No, go right ahead.
I was there and I was able to thank her personally, but spent 4 hours because the chairs hadn't been used because of COVID. So sat there for 4 hours cleaning off countless amounts of white chairs with some folks from Oldsmar Cares helping as well. Completely pivoted in the rain, soaking wet, got everything moved over. I know Chip had a hand in that as well, but got everything moved over to the rec center. The event wasn't exactly what they were looking for, but we still were able to meet. And I tried to say thank you to Karen. She told me, straight faced, I'm just doing my job. And I said, okay, no problem. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned something tonight. It was a fantastic job. My niece Riley, for her 18th birthday, decided to announce that she is going to Syracuse, which I could not be more excited for her. She set her goal on Syracuse. She got in, she's going. Wow. She's stoked.
Orangement.
And my mom and dad, if you would allow me, celebrate their 51st wedding anniversary on Sunday. So happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. And that is all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Saraki.
Right. Well, first of all, congratulations, Vince. Thanks for hanging out here with the meeting. Nice meeting your wife and Mark. Thanks for coming out. Saturday, April 10th was the Oldsmar Cup at Tampa Bay Downs. It was really good to see a lot of residents that came out to celebrate Oldsmar's birthday. The Tampa Bay Downs really appreciates the relationship between the city of Oldsmar and Tampa Bay Downs. Really does appreciate it. It was a fun day for all. I want a special thank to Ann Nixon for bringing the trophy and showing up. Also want to thank Steve Graber and his daughter Nora for attending. Thanks for coming. Also, Jared Buckman and his wife Megan and their son Zachary attended. It's good to see a new generation of Oldsmar people coming out to see the Oldsmar Cup. Also, special thanks to Pam Settle, her husband Chris, and their son Jackson. I heard Jackson did a great job at the Beauty and the Beast last Saturday. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. I had a wedding to attend. The wedding was canceled 3 times because of COVID, but I look forward to coming to the next one in suit. I heard you did a great job, and it was a fantastic event. Thank you so much. Thank you all for attending. Last but not least, the Suncoast League of Cities sponsored my trip to Tallahassee last week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Largo Council Member Jamie Robinson and I had several meetings with key Senate and House representatives to review the league's priorities and thank them all for their service in keeping local government strong. I was grateful to represent Oldsmar at the state capitol as the Suncoast League of Cities president. It wasn't as nearly crowded as years past. It was actually a little strange to see not as many cars on the street, and there was like nobody in the capitol, and some of the restaurants were closed, and the ones that were opened weren't busy at all. But overall, it was a really very successful trip. It was really a successful trip, and that's all I have.
Very good, very good. And thank you for making that trip. Do you by chance know, I asked this question earlier, do you know what happened with Senate Bill 1788? That's the one with the construction permits?
I don't think it's over yet.
Yeah, I think
as of today, it's not over yet.
Okay. All right, very good. That one's concerning.
I know, it is.
Really concerning. All right, well, very good. I do have a few items. A couple of things. First off, let me once again thank the city staff and the city manager and assistant city manager and all the folks who worked very diligently to move heaven and earth to assist on State Street with turning that location, parking location, into a wide sidewalk for the new Oldsmar Tap House and Golf Cart Cafe. It created a great experience, and it sent a message just how committed the city is to working on the town center. I also wanted to thank Karen Beal for her efforts, and we received a letter from the Wallaces. I won't read the whole thing because they just go on and on about the job that she did, but I'll just highlight a couple things. The day of the event, from before noon until sometime after 9 p.m., she worked nonstop and fielded crisis after crisis with knowledge, maturity, and humor. Her unwavering assistance, attitude, and leadership made a disappointing situation so much better. They went on and talked about all the things she did, and I like this one little paragraph they put in here. She was soaking wet in the first part of the afternoon due to the heat. then remained soaking wet the rest of the night due to getting pelted with rain. She kept her composure to the very end, very much more than some of us did. And so just hats off for her great work. And it's, you know, she's very modest about it, as you would note earlier, but it should be noted, and it is greatly appreciated. So there you go. Beauty and the Beast, outstanding job. 500-600 people out there. You know, there are a handful of events that come along, and for me, it's always Celebrate Oldsmar is one of them, but to me, this was like that. You know, I always look out, the weather was perfect, the water was there, the kids were on the stage, and it's that Norman Rockwell moment when you look around and you know, all the families are having a good time, and I was a little scared of the Beast too, so tell your daughter not to worry, you know. But it was a wonderful event, and I know our citizens really appreciate all the hard work that went into that. So I had to make a point of mentioning it. May 9th, if you do not know, is the National Day of Prayer at 6:30. This year it's going to be a little different. It's historically been done on the steps of City Hall with COVID and the desire to social distance. They moved it over to Ariel's Park so people could spread out. It should be a very nice event. So if you're planning on attending, don't come to City Hall. It will be over there. And that's May 6th at 6:30 p.m. And of course, Oldsmar Days and Nights this weekend. Hoorah! Finally. Yeah. Chambers worked very hard on this. Tremendous number of events going on. If you need more details on it, I'm not going to go through the whole agenda on it other than to say you can go to oldsmardaysandnights.com and it'll give you the breakdown of the schedule. The parade is on Saturday. Everyone loves the parade. I don't think we're throwing beads this year, though, are we? Are we? We are. Oh, good. Well, they're sterilized beads. Yes. Don't put them in your mouth, okay? Right. And so we're good. We're good. I'd like to get my arm warmed up there, you know? I always have to do underhand because every now and then I get a little excited and like a kid doesn't see one coming and they're like, hey, the mayor just hit the kid. No, bad. But it's going to be a great event. I know the chambers work very hard on it. And I'm going to ask that our citizens be a little more tolerant than maybe they would normally be coming out to this event. Let me explain. You know, part of the deal is that we have a limit in the number of people who are allowed to attend, all right? And so the total limit is 1,000 people at any given time. Now keep in mind, it takes about 200 volunteers to run this event, so that puts about 800 on the field. And so we had somewhere, when we took a count on Saturday, it was like somewhere around 525 at that particular point. And when you looked around, you thought, okay, you know what, that 800 will probably work. But they're clicking people in and out. I mean, they're counting. They actually have counters. I mean, they've gone through a whole, you'll notice it'll be a little different. They'll have tables. There won't be an open field. And so if you come up, or I don't know if they're able to use the sign out front to say full or something like that. You know, the big electronic sign, maybe that helps people not get out of the car if it's suddenly overwhelmed with tons of people, but be tolerant, go drive around for a little while, people will leave, come back and go in. So it's gonna be a great event, but just work with them on that. Job fair, I'm not gonna talk much about it. We talked about it earlier. Once again, chamber event, really important. Our employers need employees and they're asking for our help. So let's, and besides that, most of these jobs are all here in Oldsmar. So you don't have to commute far. So there's a benefit right there. And the last I have is tomorrow, just a reminder, we have coffee with the mayor at 9:30 a.m. It's gonna be a short recap of tonight's meeting and a couple of upcoming events as a reminder. It's also an opportunity to ask questions. It's gone through Facebook Live. We did have a little bit of technical difficulty last time. So we think we have that worked out. It was our first episode, so So there you have it. I promise you it'll be short, all right? And that's all I've got. The next item on the agenda is approve the tentative agenda for May 4, 2021. Is there anybody who wishes to pull anything from the agenda? Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Sense you're ready to vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second.